another episode of Rap with Riddim. I'm Riddim, you're rapping with me. So we rap together, well, her and I will rap together, and then at the end we'll wrap it up. But you listen to us while we rap. Rappers in R&P, which means have a conversation, and then we'll wrap it up like WRAP, which means they end it. This is enough to break it down. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Beside me is the beautiful
Hi.
and talented Rochelle Mcleary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And I met her through Twitter.
Yeah, to talk.
I met her through Twitter. You were you were asking about your help with poetry,
Yeah.
and then I found out that you don't only do poetry, you do resin art.
Resin, yeah.
Resin. So for the people who don't know,
Yeah.
what is resin art?
So, resin art or epoxy resin art is pretty much using a chemical called epoxy, which is made up of two things, resin and a hardener. And you mix it in a 1-to-1 ratio or whatever that brand says you're supposed to do, and then you get what is called the epoxy. Now, in making something with that, what you do, you pour. You can pour it clear, whether you want to just cover something, or you add colors to it and you manipulate it however you want it.
Okay. How did you even get interested in this?
So I saw a picture on Twitter one time. I was like, oh, this look really cute. It was a coffee table and it was like this cliff kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And I went in the comments and it said the person commented and said it was epoxy that they used to make the top of the table. But never really followed it up. But then the pandemic hit and then you go on YouTube and you find all sorts of things. So this was one of the things that I found, and look up on my YouTube now. Every other video is about epoxy. So I learned from that. I practiced based on what I saw, and then some of the things you try to master over time, but you can never get it perfect with epoxy. It has a mind of its own.
So what were you doing before?
So I was
epoxy?
I was teaching because I did geography in school, and then I transferred that into teaching high school geography and social studies. And then realized the teaching something there, not for me. It's not for everybody. It's harder than it looks.
Yeah, the students. I don't think I'd lecture,
There,
but I would never
teach. Yeah,
Ever.
makes sense.
Right. So if
Makes
anybody
sense.
looking at a media lecturer, hit me up.
It's the plug.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, okay, I need to do something. But I had plans on moving, but it was the same time when in March when the pandemic hit. So all my plans were cancelled because you couldn't leave the country. So I'm like, all right, need to find something else to do. So then I got into freelance project management, which is pretty much me just knowing a few persons at the time who wanted to build a house. But because of the pandemic, they couldn't get to come. So they trusted me enough to give me the go ahead to continue the process for them to oversee those bills. I'm still doing that right now. And then I had a bit more free time on my hand. Construction work from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock and you're done.
Yeah.
So you have the rest of the day for do whatever. So I used that time, started practicing, and I'm like, okay, this is something that I could do. And then I showed my friends and they were like, okay, you need to put this on social media because this looked like something that people would buy. So that's pretty much the process leading up to the now.
Right. So you did geography.
Yeah.
How has that helped or affected the way you do art?
Okay, so I've always been keen on the environment, and I think that's one of the things that pushed me to geography in the first place. And then in how it transfers to my art, I try to be as environmentally friendly as possible. So I reuse things, I recycle, um, repurpose even. So for I do clocks, I do coffee tables, I do wall art, and for most of my clocks I use records that were going to be thrown out.
Some of the old
Yeah, so the
vinyls,
old vinyls I reuse those and create something new.
something
Um,
beautiful like that.
Thank you. So for my wall art, I mostly use leftover plywood from any construction project I'm working on. Or because a furniture worker said if him have a piece of board where I'm not use anymore, I might just ask him for it and find something to do with it. So the first time I did a coffee table was when I was in St. Elizabeth. Now, St. Elizabeth has a lot of lignum vitae trees. So when they're cutting down the trees to build new roads and stuff, they just leave them in piles. So I saw a stump and I was like, oh, this is really cute. So I just picked it up, drove home with it, and I asked somebody to finish off the top for me. And then I did this beautiful ocean pour on it. And I feel like I don't want to sell it because it's so, there's the first one, it's your first everything that you want to keep. So yeah, I moved on to doing larger thing. Yeah. And
So you
um
still have the first one.
I still have the first one, but I want to go on to doing larger bills. So instead of having that just stay there, probably somebody come burn it. You don't want people to burn things really because that not environmentally friendly. So I repurposed it.
So apart from your art,
Mm-hmm.
is I think something that we spoke about and we went had an extensive conversation about was P.C.O.S.
Yeah.
and your journey with P.C.O.S. and your
Yeah.
journey with P.C.O.S. And we spoke about the fact that not a lot of persons, even though a lot of persons know about it,
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of persons know what P.C.O.S is and
Yeah.
how it affects women.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could you go into that for us?
All right. So when I first went to the physician, right, um, she said to me, this is something that a lot of women struggle with, and it's a very common thing that affects women, but it's the hardest thing to understand. So it's a simple disease, like it literally is. All it is you being born with cysts on your ovaries, more than likely. Or another way you can do is by a simple blood test to know that okay, you're producing more male hormones than you are female
Female
hormones. So you have less estrogen,
and more
project and
testosterone.
more testosterone. So you project a lot of male, what you call it, features in some way. So one of the common symptoms, you have hair, like a lot of hair in some very unwanted places for females. So you have hairy hands, hairy legs. Some persons have beards
Beers.
and mustache. There's actually this thing where people are doing a movement now called, it's supposed to highlight, what's it called again, hirsutism, which is when a woman literally has as much facial hair
As a man.
as you do right now. So that's one of the more common ways in saying, okay, it's a possibility that you might have PCOS. And what it stands for is polycystic ovary syndrome, or you have some people that replace the S with a D and say disorder. So yeah.
So um, how can persons who don't know about it help, like or support the females in their lives or family, or just females in general will probably come up and say, I have PCOS and I struggle with it. How can we assist?
I feel one of the biggest ways in which you can assist is just by understanding. Because what a lot of people hear is just the physical side of it and not the mental side of it. So, one of the symptoms that's way up here on the list is depression and anxiety because your hormones are out of whack, your emotions are out of whack. So, I could be in a good mood, like a very good mood right now, and then 5 minutes, I don't want to talk to anybody because your hormones just all over the place. So I think one of the biggest things is just understanding. Make it your point of duty to know what comes with this
Right.
for whoever it is that you know with it.
And in some persons because I know some persons it affects differently. Like some people get low sex drive, some
Yeah.
people get high sex drive. They get little um, difficulties in having children.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
even that could, for people who want children, even that could cause little depression and anxiety.
Definitely. So PCOS doesn't look the same for anybody. It is not going to be identical for any two persons. So up there on the list of symptoms, um, as I said, you have the excess hair, your depression and your anxiety are way up there. One thing also that persons, there are three ways you can diagnose PCOS. Pretty common, and that's either for you to do the the scan to actually see the physical cyst. You can do a blood test to know about the level of hormones that you have.
Yeah.
Two, three, you have the hair. That's a common way. What's the other one? Oh, irregular periods. So that's actually what prompted me to get to the doctor in the first place. So I was bleeding non-stop for 3 to 4 months. I had 2 episodes. One I bled 3 months, like no days off, and the other one I bled for 4 months. And it's not like this spotting kind of bleed, It's like
Heavy flow.
heavy flow. So with that, you become anemic. You have no energy to do anything. Like if you get up and walk, you take 5 steps. Eat that, you get dizzy. You're just completely drained. But growing up, I've always had irregular periods because I would go months without having a period. Said trouble that's when you live with your mother, because she's going to have her own idea as to why you're not seeing a period, and in yourself say, "This movie, not that not one," but she not take your word for it. And I feel like a lot of younger persons they go through something because my mom is very understanding, and for her to accuse me or assume that that's why I wouldn't be seeing my period, I can just imagine other parents or other
not so understanding.
right struggling. So that's what prompted me to go to the doctor, and she explained to me that listen, it's one of two things: either you're going to be very very fertile, or it's going to be really really hard for you to get pregnant. So it's at either end of the spectrum, no in between. So it's either or. And she said there are things you can do to regulate it, which the most common one is to go on birth control. Or you can do this, you can go into hormone therapy, which it never sounds so nice to me. And the other thing that she put on the table was to take metformin. And for those of you who know persons with diabetes, you know that metformin is a pretty common diabetic drug. And that leads me to the other thing. When you have PCOS, a lot of lifestyle changes you have to make because you have a lot of lifestyle diseases that come with PCOS. And one of them that's way up there is that type 2 diabetes type. I think the stat says 60% of women, somewhere there, that has been diagnosed with PCOS go on to have diabetes. And like fate already there from my side because diabetes on both sides of my family. So the odds are against me.
So you have to change
So
the way you eat.
whole heap of things I forget change up. Another thing that comes with it, still up there in the 50%, 60% range, is developing some form of cancer that has to do with your reproductive system. So that'd be ovarian cancer,
Cervical cancer.
any one of those, your chances skyrocket once you're diagnosed with P.C.O.S. So
How do you do you in any way use your art to bring awareness to this?
I haven't just yet, but like you mentioned in the beginning, we met through poetry. So I've started to write, but then when something is so personal, it's kind of hard to put it out there because this would be my first time really talking about it. So it's really hard to put it out there just yet. But I'm assuming since I'm talking to it's the first time meeting him, so can say almost a stranger, then I'm going to brave up and finish the piece.
Let everybody know.
Yeah, just put it out there.
I think there are a lot of persons who would feel justified to know that somebody who understands what they're going through and is making awareness of it.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage you to finish that piece since you're already talking to a stranger. And you went in depth with the stranger. Might as well you just let everybody know what you're doing.
One thing I want to say though is, even though you go to a physician and the physician tell you say this is what you should do, you have other options, because changing something as simple as what you eat, that can make a big difference. Because I remember she gave me a pill that was supposed to stop my bleeding instantly, and it didn't work, and I was frustrated because bleeding for 3-4 months, it takes its toll. And I decided, you know what, YouTube. You learn everything on YouTube. And I started following some persons that were journeying the same way I was. And they said, this is what I take out of my diet, this is what I put in. And then I called her and she was like, yeah, you can do it. But me, I said, why you never give me that option there when we did there at the office, you know? And one thing I incorporated in my diet that it has a host of different health benefits, and that's apple cider vinegar. Like everybody's supposed to know about apple cider vinegar by now. So that I felt like, okay, this is something that I can manage to do on a daily basis. And one thing, I knew this because my mom had a hysterectomy, and so she wasn't producing as much estrogen either. So her physician told her, listen, yams are your best friend because they naturally help with estrogen. So that's something I've incorporated in.
I know we're having a serious conversation.
Where am I coming?
Because you said yams and estrogen, I wanted that with a yam conversation.
Boy, I mean, I know.
Whatever, that's why.
I
digress.
I have no clue. So yeah, yams are your best friend. A lot of people think that when you're changing up your diet, you're supposed to cut out carbs. Like no, not so. You have good carbs and then the bad ones, of course. So your sweet potatoes, sweet potatoes, definitely incorporate those. Take out as much GMO stuff that you can because those have the processed food and they have other chemicals inside of them that go mess with your imbalance that you already have. So you don't want to be incorporating anything that's going to, give you any more additives where your body don't really need. Fruits and vegetables, of course. Of like since I was diagnosed last year March, and since I started to, don't delve into it right away because it's going to get stressful.
It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, just take it one step at a time. If you're going to say you're going to stop eat beef try it for 2 months or so, and then you probably try cut off pork or something like, because you're supposed to avoid red meat. You're supposed to avoid red meat when you have PCOS. So don't delve into it all at once. Boy, I can have it every now and then, but you see that the every week, every Friday, or every 2 weeks when I get me, I feel like I don't want to splurge. Yeah, cut off it a little bit.
Cut down the curry a little bit.
Just
cut out the pork completely.
Fire up on the board.
Right. You were supposed to eat in the first place.
Yeah.
So the beef you can slow down on it, slow down on the goat, but everything.
Yeah. So those are just some simple changes you can do because I've seen where it has been helping, because I haven't been taking any medications for my PCOS because it's not that, the symptoms of it for me aren't that crazy. But I know persons where it's a hot mess for them come each month or every time they should have a period. Yeah, so just a simple change like that, I've regularized my period in that it now comes every month. That never ever happened before.
And from a change of diet.
From I change my diet, I can see, okay, this is something that I need to stick to because it has been working for me.
And don't think because she's here or talking about P.C.O.S, it won't be a challenge, right? This is still Rapid Rhythm. I'm still competitive.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. She's still an artist, and I'm going to test her at her art. So we're going to be doing wire art.
Yeah.
Wire art. You want to give us instructions?
So this is the first time for the both of us, but based on YouTube University, pretty much you just picture a shape in your head and you twist and turn it till you get what you imagine. That's as best I can tell you. I've never done it before.
See guys, you see become a star. I've already made one thing from it. I made a necklace. Check it out.
Easy, no?
I mean, others. But I guess she wants me to make something else.
Yeah.
People are so picky. So we're going to go into it. help me, Father, because I'm not as proficient at art as some may think. Me I still star,
But of
regardless.
course.
You know. Right. So
Like you sure.
and go. I'm done.
Yeah. I think I'm finished.
Yeah.
The thing is sitting on now is a canopy kind of thing. That looks like what is that name? You know that birth control thingy, that
Well,
the thing that they
look,
put in.
look at my artwork. Just get up free. 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 Look at that. Look at that. Look at that masterpiece. Look at that masterpiece right there. Oh my god, this is wonderful. I'll give you the name soon. I'll reveal the name of it soon. And when I say the name, you'll be like, oh, for real.
Right.
Let's see her artwork now. Let's go. Let's go.
It's not gonna book shot. Ew.
Is this supposed to be an heart or something?
No, it's supposed to be a face.
Whose face?
Just a silhouette kind of thing. Like not a whole face, but the lips, the face, eye.
I can
No,
never
no,
get artists.
Oh, you have no imagination.
All right. So what is the name of the piece? What is the name of the piece? face?
Just a face.
Just a face?
Just a face. Okay.
Well, the name of my piece is called Fallopian.
Oh.
You know, in awareness of P.C.O.S, the
Yeah.
conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that, you know.
Thingies. There are no thingies, okay?
And then, you know, this is that line. What I will do, I'll put an image of a better diagram
But of course.
beside it so you can see what I'm talking about. And right here, I think here is the entrance to the vagina. May I start? Talk truth.
Truth.
Talk truth.
Yeah, star.
See?
Yeah, star.
Everybody
What you
agrees.
tell me, say, strong and wrong?
Wrong and strong.
Wrong and strong.
Wrong
Yeah,
and
star.
strong.
Yeah, star.
Yeah, so y'all start too.
Of course.
With your face?
Yes, face.
Face. Right. So I want to thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You know, thank you for.
Hopefully, I reach somebody with my story.
I'm sure you will. You know, I hope that more people will be able to speak out about the challenges that they go through.
Yeah.
I feel more confident to talk. Voila.
Confront that camera.
More people will feel more confident to speak about their journey with P.C.O.S.
Mm-hmm.
I've met about 2 females who have said, apart from you, that they have P.C.O.S. and they have expressed the difficulties that they have with it. So I hope that after when they watch this, that they'll be able to, you know, feel more confident that they're not in this journey alone. Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for bringing
Face.
faith.
See, don't mess. It's supposed to be turned this way. It's this way. It's not gonna look the same.
Right.
Something like this. See, it makes so much sense. How come you didn't say it was a face?
I'm not
Oh my.
I'm not as artistic as you are.
Hopefully you guys saw it though. Hopefully.
Yes, comment to go in the comment section to let me know if you guys realize that this was a face or if my fallopian was better.
Okay. Yes, please. Please do that.
Right. So thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell a friend to tell another friend. And all those friends that you've told, when I tell them, find some more friends. If you're antisocial, just go socialize just so you can make some friends. I tell them to subscribe. And then after you friend them and them subscribe, you can unfriend them again. I mean,
that's the vlog.
You know what I mean? So just make friends just so them can come and watch. What are friends for?